After I've consumed a piece of media, I have a lot of opinions that I like to vomit into the world. They're often unfocused and sometimes crass, but I feel they are just as valid as my clear and concise thoughts. So I figured, why not give you a look at both?
Nice doll.
That's what you think.
So I just saw Annabelle Creation. No, wait, no, Comes Home. This is Annabelle Comes Home. Oh my god, it's... what does that tell you about these movies? They are so forgettable. I have seen each of the three of them in theaters, and I honestly couldn't tell you the plots of the first two, and I guarantee you if you come to me in a week, I won't be able to tell you the plot of this one either. These movies are just complete messes, and holy macaroni was that ever the case with this one, because you see, as I was watching this movie, I'm like, okay, I was kind of with it at first, because I was watching it and I'm like, oh my god, they've done the unthinkable. They've made a relatable character in one of these, because at first, really the only characters you're supposed to relate to are Ed and Lorraine Warren. And, I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't really relate to charlatans. I should probably do some sort of a disclaimer of sorts. That is that charlatan thing. Yeah, that's all strictly my opinion. I am not accusing them of any criminal wrongdoing or anything like that. But just want to cover my own butt because you never know how litigious a couple of dead folk might be. Ha! And if you're wondering, hey, wait a minute, that sounds kind of a little crass, I just want to remind you that the filmmakers were probably thinking when they released these films, they're like, oh, sweet, Lorraine Warren just died, we're probably going to get a lot of sympathy bucks on this one. But anyway, they have made a relatable character in this, and that's absolutely phenomenal because I don't even remember the names of the characters in the other ones, and honestly... what were the names of the characters in this one? It doesn't matter. I remember them. I'm just fucking around. Okay, so they made a relatable character. Her name is Daniela. And, well, I say she's relatable. She is simultaneously one of the most relatable and dumbest characters they have ever invented. And she's relatable because she does exactly what I would do if I were in her shoes. You see, so what she does is she has her best friend... her name is Mary Ellen, and Mary Ellen is a babysitter for the Warrens' daughter, Judy. And Mary Ellen is babysitting one night, and Daniela finds out that she's babysitting for the daughter of the Warrens, who in universe are famous for Amityville and all the other different hauntings that they investigated throughout their careers. Obviously, Amityville is the most famous one, but that's neither here nor there. So... she finds this out, and she's like, hey, Daniela, no, she's Daniela, excuse me. She's like, hey, Mary Ellen, can I come over, please? Because I want to see the spooky stuff. Because she's, like, kind of thinking, like, oh, the Warrens, and they make you think, like, she is, like, totally like, oh, these couple of hucksters, yeah, I want to see their house, I want to see their demon room, please. And Mary Ellen's like, I'm not really cool on that idea, because the Warrens would certainly not want anybody... coming to their house with the strict intention of just fucking around with stuff. They're not really into that idea, and I don't blame them for that. So, Daniela, through hijinks and shenanigans, for the sake of brevity, she manages to weasel her way into the Warrens' house. She literally breaks in, actually. She goes in through the back door, and she's just like, ha 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 ha, it was unlocked. And she's in the house, and she manages to trick Mary Ellen and the daughter to get them out of the house, and she goes right for the demon room. And now, if I were in her shoes, this is where she is the most relatable character they have ever come up with. If I were in her shoes, and I was in the Warrens' demon room, I would start fucking with everything. Like, I would touch every single thing that there is to touch, and that is what she does. And I would do the same thing, so she's like, sees like a piano, and she goes, ba ba black sheep, da 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 da. And I would do that. She's like, there's like the haunted samurai armor. She's like, I wonder how this looks on me. I was like, I would do this exact same stuff. And then it's like, finds out like, oh, she wanted to get in contact with her recently deceased father, and it's like, oh, well, that's no fun. That's like a human thing. I wouldn't be interested in that. And as soon as they revealed that, I was actually out. I was totally de-invested in the character, because I would have been like, if it had been me, I would have just gone there to fuck with stuff, and like, I thought that's what she was doing, but no. But anyway, in her screwing around, she releases all of the demons, and that is really the point of this movie that completely, like, where I was just like, how is anybody going to remember the plot of this movie? Because there's so much stuff going on. I just saw it and I don't remember the plot of the movie. Okay, so she releases every single demon in this room, and it makes me think that, like, they really don't have a lot of steam left in this Annabelle franchise, because Annabelle isn't even really, like they say it's, oh, all of these demons are escaping, they're all listening to Annabelle. Well, no, they're not. Like, Annabelle's just there. Like, there's, like, so many different demons. Like, there's the one in the Japanese armor, there's the ferryman who pops out of a couple of haunted coins, there's a haunted TV. It's like they had all these different horror ideas, and they didn't know what they wanted to do with all of them, so they're like, just screw it, let's just, as long as the doll shows up like, ha ha ha, I'm doing this, like, then we can totally get away with whatever we want to do. What's that? You want to put Satan in the movie and have it harass a little girl? Put him in there. Edit him terribly. Make it, like, I hated the editing. I don't know who it was supposed to be. I don't know if it was supposed to be Satan, but, like, I think it's actually supposed to be Annabelle, because there's this part where Judy is in her room and she's got, like, a light, and the light is changing colors between, like, red and green and blue and yellow. It's going through those colors, and with each change of the color, Annabelle's shadow changes. So, like, at first, like, you see the doll, and the doll's like, the doll shadow does that, and then it changes color, and then the doll shadow gets bigger, and then it's like a lady holding a knife, and then it's Satan, and then Satan's just like, bleh, as he would do. So, I'm trying to wrap up my thoughts here, because, okay, ultimately, like, so Satan's in the movie, and they have to defeat all of these different demons, and then that's put Annabelle. The goal is Annabelle was taken out of the case. Annabelle needs to go back in the case, and if you do that, all the other demons are negated. Here's the thing. Now, this is my ultimate point. I want to say this, and then I'm going to be done. Okay? All of these demons, what do they want? What I really disliked about this movie in particular, I don't remember the plots of the other ones, sorry. What I really disliked about the plot of this movie is that the other demons, if you're going to have all these other demons here, they got to do something. They got to have a reason for being. Even if it is just like, we're evil and we're fucking in charge now. Fine, you can have that. You just got to say it. But in this movie, these other demons, it seems like they have no intent to kill. They have no intent to injure. Their intent is to just screw with these three people. These, like, three teenagers, like the ferryman, he's like, he wants to collect your soul. Okay, well, if he's trying to collect their souls because they didn't pay him enough quarters, like, he's just, like, a really, really particular, like coin-op dryer, like, you didn't put 50 cents in that, you're coming with me. Like, he doesn't even do that, like, he's like, oh, here's a spooky thing. Blah! That's for you. That's what you get for not paying my toll. I was like, well, how are you going to take her soul, then, if you're just throwing, this like, here's a corpse. Take that. That'll teach you to play with my haunted coins. And, like, all I could picture while this is going on is because there's these scenes of, like, they're supposed to be spooky where the coins just, like, roll in front of the main character, and all I could think of is somebody on set just has a roll of quarters and is just going, and here we go. Like, you can't really see the charade I did there. It was like a little bowling thing. Like, you just pretend they're throwing quarters at the main character. It's like, alright, don't hit her. So yeah, that's, like, I guess that's the whole movie. Because, like, even Satan, like, he's Satan, so he should, you think he would have the leg up on, like, a 12-year-old girl. But no, he doesn't. He appears and he goes, blah! And he's really horribly edited, and then they're just like, put Annabelle in the case! And then they put Annabelle in the case, and Satan's just like, ah! He does that thing where he's all blurry, and then it ends, so that's Annabelle.
She wants us.
So those were my rambly bits. Now I'd like to make a few additional points on Annabelle Comes Home. Number 1. Annabelle isn't scary. One of the biggest problems with the Annabelle sub-franchise of the Conjuring universe has to do with the doll itself. And this has been said since the original, it's just not scary. The reason why is because it's too scary. Does that make sense? Allow me to prove my point by taking a look at the doll. Its skin looks like it's had a moisturizing facial with cream made from sewer runoff. Its eyes are sunken in, and its facial features are hard, angled, with defined stress lines, forcing itself to smile even though it knows the futility of its own existence. You know what? Never mind. The Annabelle doll is scary. It's a millennial. No, what makes the actual Annabelle doll scary is nothing, because demons don't exist. Turned down for what? The Warrens, they may not have been good ghost hunters, but they were pretty decent storytellers. The actual Annabelle is a Raggedy Ann doll, and such an innocuous-looking doll being filled with a malevolent spirit is actually kind of creepy. And there's really no excuse for these movies to have not used a real Raggedy Ann doll for the films. It's public domain. Number 2. Building a creepypasta house. I alluded to it earlier, but this movie really is a mess. It's like they had a whole bunch of horror concepts, but no ideas for a full movie to build around them. Now what they did have was the Annabelle prop, and a can-do attitude. The filmmakers came up with some basic lore, background, and rules for their fake monsters, and made a haunted house ride out of it. It was like the director had a couple of SCP storylines on the back burner and decided to use them for a feature film. Now, if they wanted to make a haunted house movie starring their own creepypasta monsters, they could have done that, and it probably would have been a better movie. Dumb teens unleashing a house of horrors can work as a popcorn horror flick. Sadly, this movie is beholden to not only Annabelle, but the Warrens and the Conjuring universe as a whole. Every single time Annabelle's on screen, it kills the pacing dead. Number 3. Franchise obligation. Do you ever feel like sometimes you go to see a movie because you've got no choice but to see the movie? Like, yeah, I'm gonna go see every new Jurassic Park film that comes out because I've seen all the rest and I'm obligated. Yeah, they all look like they're gonna suck. No recent events haven't done anything to give me a thought that they're gonna right the ship and that anything's gonna change and that any of these movies are gonna be anything resembling worthwhile. But what else do I do with $10? I remember in horror parlance, the movies you used to be obligated to see were Paranormal Activity or Saw, but now we're to the point where the obligatory series is the Conjuring franchise, a series of films that contains 3 Annabelle movies and The Curse of La Llorona. These are the movies we're obligated to see now because they're part of a cinematic universe. A cinematic universe, I'll remind you, that has no connecting threads outside of 2 characters, Ed and Lorraine Warren. In this particular film, those 2 pivotal characters are seen only for a flashback scene at the beginning of the film and a couple of minutes before the end credits, so that way we can have our in loving memory of Lorraine Warren. So there you go. Now you've heard my fresh from the theater thoughts and a little bit more concise addendum after I've had some time to think about it on Annabelle Comes Home. If you're new here, consider subscribing. If you liked the video, smash your face into your computer screen. And then click like. There's always new content in the works around here, so stick around. And toodaloo, my decent friends.